pro contra ideias e assunto, ideologia, política, justiça, defesa, segurança, economia, social, educação no cultura, exclusivo, crítico no construtivo, TVE debate, sai inspiração para o futuro.
To all the viewers from across the world in Timor-Leste and those who are joining us in this evening in the studio of San Miguel. This evening we will be having a debate, but first of all, to kickstart our debate, I'd like to introduce to you myself. I'm Julian Duzreis, who will be the host for this evening's event. The objective of this evening's debate is to be able to give an opportunity to the students from colleges and also other public schools across the country to be able to share their opinions or share their skills and understanding in English to be able to debate some very important issue related to our country's development. This evening, I'll be having two groups that will be starting our debate. And in this case, let me introduce to you the representative from Colégio São Miguel Arcanjo and also representative from São Paulo Sexto. My apologies if I didn't say it correctly. So, again to start, I'd like to welcome you guys to be able to join us, to accompany us throughout this debate this evening. I'd like to introduce, first of all, I'd like to invite our contestants this evening, São Miguel, to introduce themselves before we kickstart our evening debate. The floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity the MC has given for us. Once we're going to start our debating, first of all, we won't forget to our respect to the dear judges and instructor, and for those who come and participate in our debating group. Included for those accompanying live streaming, good evening, everybody. So we want to have a short introduce. My name is Jennifer. We represent College San Miguel, and this is my friend.
My name is Fitum Alfad Bosch Manas.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us to announce our topic. Our title of the debating is about what is the main cause of education system that implicate quality of teaching and learning that have been lowered during independence.
Thank you very much for that. Of course, I'll give you the opportunity to demonstrate what you have prepared based on the topic which is provided. But I'd like to invite, of course, the team to, if you could introduce yourself also. Please do the same. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, with respect, I would like to greet all of us here. Good evening, honorable judges, fellow competitors, audiences that are here, and audiences that are watching from home. Hello everyone, my name is Marcelina Veronica Repi, and my friend here, her name is Marlena. We are the representative of Colégio Paulo Sexto. And our topic for today is what is the main cause of education system that implicated the quality of teaching and learning that have been lowered during independence. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the introduction. If you could give a big round of applause to our contestant, that would be great. Thank you so much. Of course, I'd like to, invite, I introduce quickly the judges that is going to be providing their opinions on how good our students are, demonstrating their skills in the debating process So just to recognize that there are 3 judges that will be taking part of providing the rating, the scoring of how good our students are debating this evening. Again, to kickstart, I think without further ado, I'll hand the floor to our students to be able to demonstrate the understanding of the concept which they have prepared. Pre-text has been provided to them to be able to prepare their understanding of the process. I hope that they have done a lot of research to be able to do that. I'm a researcher myself, and I'd like to see that debates are not only purely talking, but rather it has to be based on data and all that. And so to kickstart, I'd like to invite, of course, the Sao Paulo CESTU contestant to be able to present their debate this evening. The floor is yours, if you could start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So based on our motion, so here in this meeting, we're talking specifically about East Timor, about our country. First, let's talk about what is education. Education is the process to bring us for the better life. Through education, people can express themselves and change their life. As Walter, 2005, said that education is the process of teaching and learning, especially in a school or college which prepares you for your life. The education makes competent enough to cross the obstacles, hardship, and hurdles of life. Education is so important. But why is education so important? Here are the following reasons. First, security, securing a higher income. Second, developing problem-solving skills. Third, improving the economy. Fourth, in creating employment opportunities. And fifth, provide a prosperous and a happy life. Timor-Leste was able to make quick progress in between 2002 and 2014. That enrollment went from 240,000 students enrolled to 364,000. And the teacher went from 6,000 to 12,000 despite the increase in school enrollment, but still, many young and adults lacked the basic education needed to fully participate in society and contribute to the economy. For example, in 2018, adult literacy rate for Timor-Leste is 68.1%. Adult literacy rate of Timor-Leste increased from 37.6% in 2001 to 68.1% in 2018, growing at an average annual rate of 22.18%. To have a good education, we need a good quality of education system as well. An education system is a structure made up of various components that allow the population to be educated. The school, the universities, the libraries, and the teachers, among others, are part of the system. The state is responsible for the management and regularization of education system. But in this discussion, we're going to talk about the main causes why the quality of our education system has been lower since independence.
Well, the main causes of why the quality of our education system has been lower since independence. First, schools infrastructure. Many schools in Timor-Leste, especially in rural areas, have poor infrastructure, and this problem has been continuing until this time. Having a safe and comfortable place for the students to learn is also important, so that they can enjoy and put their whole concentration to the lessons that their teacher teaches them. In some districts like Ainaru, has poor school infrastructure, such as broken ceiling and all of that stuff. Second, the quality of teaching can make a massive impact for better and brighter future in our country. That's why all the teachers have to qualify their study before teaching the students. Some teachers don't prioritize the students' learning. For that kind of teachers, going into the class and teaching students what they're supposed to teach is more important than prioritize the knowledge and such that the students receive. Teachers who's teaching students without proper degree also has an impact.
For example, someone finished their degree in PE but ended up teaching physics. Students will have a hard time learning, and it can make them extremely bewildered. And the third, lack of facilities and equipment. Lacking in equipment and facilities, especially in public school, can also be a big problem. In public school doesn't have library, books, boards that they need to help their learning process. This is one of the problems that Timor-Leste are facing. And to sum up everything that we have delivered, the government needs to pay more attention with seriousness to give the best solution immediately for the public preoccupation related to the quality of education in our country, Timor-Leste. For the problems such as they have to establish the school infrastructure, provide the teacher training and methodology, and provide facilities such as books, libraries, boards, etc.
Thank you very much. That was really good. Could I please ask you guys to give a round of applause? Again, the viewers, not only in Timor-Leste, but across the globe. If you're joining us this evening to accompany this debate, I remember back in those days when I was in high school, I couldn't even speak English as the way they are. This is a proud moment to be able to see and also observe the growth that our children have with the kind of English they are having. And that is such a progress. But of course, you know, with your presentation of the debate based on the topic that is given, you have articulated very clearly what the issues are and what the government needs to do to solve it, which is very good. Of course, you did have some repetition in terms of infrastructure, because books and libraries and all that is also considered, that's considered as part of the infrastructure also. I'll have a couple of questions for you, but of course, now I'd like to, of course, turn to the team from Colegio San Miguel. If you could also present your findings of the debate this evening, will be great. Please join me again to accompany the team from San Miguel to be able to present their findings based on the questions or the topic that has been given. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. So, what is education? Education is a process of learning and teaching. To transform knowledge, therefore, education is a high in health system, an instrument of social change and transformation economy. Only 20% of preschool-aged children in Timor-Leste are enrolled in school. In the short period since the restoration of independence in 2022, Timor-Leste has made significant progress by completely rebuilding its education system. More and more children and young people are now going to school. Quality education for all is a key government priority, but again, facility, reputation, and dropout language. Diversity work and child-friendly teaching method and limit facility in rural areas progressed. Nearly 42% of Timor-Leste population lives below the poverty line, and children miss out on vital opportunity for learning and empowerment. Children in rural area in the process affected on average 1 more year of education brings 10% increase in individuals earning each additional year associated with a % higher gross domestic product per capita.
As we know that Timor-Leste is facing low quality of education. Annual budget is too low, less than 10%, as consequences, a cause of low quality of education due to insufficient budget do not permit to establish adequate physical infrastructure to facilitate learning processes. Quality human resources for primary, secondary, and higher education is a major challenge for quality. Low speed and high cost of internet became a huge constraint for students to improve their knowledge through researches. Vocational schools is paramount importance for young segment group to acquire necessary skills for self-employment. So what is good quality of education? A good quality education is one provides that all learners with capability to require to become economically productive, develop sustainable livelihoods, contribute to peaceful and democratic society, and enhance individual well-being. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Of course, again, you have articulated really well some of the issues, some of the obvious issues in the education system. Again, please give a round of applause to the team that have articulated some. Again, if I could invite you, of course, those who are in the studio, again, those viewers, not only in Timor-Leste, but those across the world, Australia, England, Portugal, wherever you are, we are very happy that you can join us this evening watching live to be able to accompany this wonderful debate we have this evening. I have a couple of questions for you, of course. As what I was saying at the initial stage of this debate, that I like it that you have used some data, but it would have been nice if you also could quote that based on what study that you have said that. The first question that I'd like to ask is that, again, I guess prior to that, you say that both groups have said that the quality of education is very poor. In fact, it is very poor, but I think as a new generation, as new generations, we need to be thankful of the things that the government has done. Obviously, there has been a lot of challenges, we know that. In the development process, there is always going to be challenges. But you need to be mindful that back in those days, when we were young, we couldn't speak the language that you're speaking now, English. But now you do. It means that, of course, there are a lot of problems, but there are some things that have been done right. The opportunity for you to be able to learn the English and being able to communicate effectively the way you do today. So we need to also recognize the fact that the government has done a lot. There is a lot more to be done. I'd like to ask though, what is your view in terms of language issue? You know that in primary school, people at some school, they're learning in Portuguese. When they go to high school, they may be learning in Bahasa Indonesia. They get to university because their university lecturers are qualified from Indonesia, which means their thought, their articulation of things in Indonesian language. What are your views in this? What are your views? If you could also just explain to me, what are your views in terms of language itself become a barrier for those kids that are learning at school with different languages over time? Please.
Here in Timor?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
In Timor, okay. For me, it's not really a language barrier because Bahasa is like so common in here. Like a lot of people talk about it. They learn it from the TV, they learn it from YouTube, they learn it from everywhere, especially in this generation. We have technology like phones and TVs, radios, and etc.
If I could just stop you quickly. My question is, those people learning, some of them are learning in Tetum, in primary school or secondary school or high school, Tetum or Portuguese. But when they go to university, they have to get teaching lessons from a person who only get educated from Indonesia, which means they only speak Bahasa Indonesia. Anything that is taught at university, most often they use Google Translate to translate those materials. What are your view in this? Because the thing is, some people have issues in terms of, because the way they have been taught is in different language. And then they get to university, they are taught in different language again. That was my issue. So I'd like to hear what are your views on this.
Well, I think that's the cause. It's the Google we're not gonna talk about the bad of internet, but this is the cause, because internet, if we use it wrong, it's gonna make like we're gonna be a slave to them. because we're gonna dependent to the Google, the translate. That's why we're not gonna know about the grammar and all of that stuff. That's the one problem.
Thank you, thank you. If I could hear from you both, of course, it will be the same question. What are your views in terms of using different languages at school, like primary school, secondary school, high school, with different language, going to university and taught in different language? What are your views on that, please?
As we know that quality in Timor-Leste, right? Yeah, for my view and my perspective, that in Timor-Leste we have low quality of human resources for primary and secondary and higher education is a major challenge of quality, in my perspective. And talking about the internet, we have low speed and high cost of internet become a huge constraint for students to improve their knowledge through researches. Thank you.
I think thank you for that. I guess quickly, if you say a lot of things about poor education, the systems, the infrastructure, what do you think, if you were to be sitting here right now in front of the Minister of Education, as a new generation, what will you advise the Minister to do better to improve the quality of education, please?
Okay, if they were here, right? I would like to tell them that please prioritize education as well, even if it's infrastructure like the buildings and stuff. Students cannot learn comfortably if it's raining and then the ceiling is broken. It's just not comfortable. It's not good for students to learn. It's not comfortable. So please focus more on education. Focus more on school and the things that they needed. That's all.
Thank you. What is your view on this in terms of how education system can be improved?
Okay, if the Ministry of Education is here, I'm really glad that he will hear this, because education is the institute of the major solid foundation for any country to develop. So Timor-Leste has low quality of education. So we have opportunity that Timor-Leste has sufficient sovereignty, petroleum fund, and oil and gas, enabling to assist and facilitate all Timorese to access a better and class education similar to others developed countries. Thank you.
Do you think you can complete that, in addition to that, please?
Thank you. Like my friend said, education is important for us. We so many young people that they're playing. They're more important playing. They don't focus on study, but they're more important playing. So this is not good for this. How they know, what they know? They don't know anything. Well, if they don't study. So,
thank you. Can you elaborate on that further? I didn't give you an opportunity to do so. If you can also just talk about what do you think, the best way to improve our education system, given the fact that it's at the poor stage, as you mentioned, please.
Well, if the education minister isn't here, you need to pay more attention, seriousness to give the best solution about the facilities and equipments, especially in public school and rural areas, because they has lack of facilities and equipments, like books, library, especially, and all of that stuff.
Just a continuation, a follow-up question in terms of your presentation. You had mentioned that, of course, some teachers are not qualified to teach at university, but they do. What are your suggestions? What kind of things that ministry needs to do, the government needs to do, to be able to give you the best lecturers or teachers in high school to be able to assist you in the learning process?
here's a suggestion, here's just a suggestion. To give us like not better but like good teachers, first I think they should evaluate teachers that are gonna teach, like for what subject they are gonna teach, like evaluate them first before letting them go and teaching students. Like some people, they study like one subject, like for example they study sport in university, but they go to a school and they teach physics. The students will be so extremely bewildered if they just like go and explain everything without knowing it.
Thank you. I understand the frustration. But of course, I'd like to hear from you also. This team has presented the fact that some teachers are not qualified to the standard required to be able to teach at school, but yet they're teaching. What are your reactions on that? As the benefit of those that are, of course, in the learning process, you want to be put in the best position possible to learn, and yet you're not getting that. What are your advice to the government to be able to provide you maybe good teachers to be able to assist you in school much better way? What are your thoughts?
Thank you. But first, Timor-Leste has less low quality of human resources. If the government implemented a highly cost of human resources, like for example, teacher with low salary, of course, logically, that the students will be low educated. If the teachers have high salary of education, the student will have a high quality of education. So one day in the future, the students could have a better quality of education in the future. That's my question.
You're pointing out the fact that because low salary, they're not concentrating in teaching you.
Yeah.
Thanks for making that point very clear. Again, of course, yes, just give me a second. The viewers, again, you're in the studio in Timor-Leste or across the globe. Again, for the next section of this debate, we'll give an opportunity to the students to be able to attack their argument. I'd like to ask you if you could join me to give a big round of applause for the good performance they've done. As you've just pointed out, you'd like to argue what your opponent has said in terms of the quality of education. So if you could continue, I'll give you the floor. Please do. Thanks.
Respectfully, we disagree with the human resources about the teacher's low salary. Here's the reason.
Well, salary, in our opinion, salary is not the main cause, because but the unqualified teacher that doesn't get their salary yet, or that doesn't get their qualified certificate yet is the main cause of why our education system have been lower during the independence.
Okay, so about increasing the salary, like we have to increase salary for teachers that are qualified for teaching, so we don't just go and waste money, because it benefits the teacher, but it also benefits the student if the teacher is qualified for teaching. That's our opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a counter argument in that, in terms of what they're saying? Because what they're saying here is that you're saying that salary becomes an issue as to why the teachers are not providing the best teaching for you, while they're arguing that the teachers are not qualified to be in that position to teach you. What are your thoughts in that, to be able to counterattack their argument?
That's a good question, but first of all, Timor-Leste has a sufficient sovereignty of petroleum fund, oil and gas, enabling to assist and facilitate all Timorese to access a better class education similar to other developed countries. So from this financial cost, why do the government should have to implement this human resources to teachers? Because education is the first priority for students. Education is the key to the future for our next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Have you got any specific question for your opponent in terms of what they have presented? Of course, if you remember, they were presenting the issue, the fact that, of course, the infrastructure becomes an issue. Some of the schools in the remote areas don't even have the infrastructure needed. What are your counter arguments in this, in terms of what the government has done so far in the education system?
Thankfully that UNICEF has supported Timor-Leste because we don't have functioning toilet and drinking water. So for my, I'm happy that UNICEF has supported Timor-Leste to make a better quality of school. Yeah.
Have you got a question for your, of course, your opponent based on what they presented? Have you got any specific question?
No, but thank you. And yeah, like my friend said, UNICEF support the government to give support to our to set up a sustainable model of community preschool as alternative delivery mode for nearly learning programs.
Thank you very much for that. Have you got any specific questions in terms of what they have presented? Because the thing is, they are counter-arguing you for what you have presented in terms of the argument related to what you have presented. Do you have anything that you'd like to ask before I move to the judges?
No, they are good. They're still good, still good.
Do you have any further questions?
Okay, so here's just a suggestion. You talk about government giving the money from oils and stuff to the teachers, right? About the human resources. Like, why not them giving it to the teachers so that the teachers will teach like this?
No, I mean that Timor-Leste, we have a great financial fund. We have great financial in gas and oil. So every 5 years, you know that the government have new transportation. Why do the government doesn't implement it to the school?
To the teachers, you said specifically.
Not to the teachers, but to the education, also teachers.
Okay, but you said to the teachers specifically.
Yeah, specifically,
Yeah.
I say it wrong, but to the
I think I
education.
understand basically what he's saying is that there's a lot of money from the oil revenues, but
Sure.
yet the government is using the money to buy fancy cars for them rather than investing in the infrastructure of the education. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, before they said that, why not like giving to the teachers, like before this?
Yeah, yes, I say that, but I focus that to education because we have great financial on oil.
But teacher
and gas.
is a part of education.
Yes.
Would you like to add on that, please?
Okay, I just have a question. This
Okay.
is just a question. You said like give it to the teachers, but what if the teachers are unqualified? They are not able to teach the students. Like, not like what if they teach the students wrongly? Wouldn't that be just a waste of money?
Maybe that's a bad habit for the teachers because some teachers have their own priority to teach their students a well-being human. That's the teacher's priority.
Thank you. That's a good argument. What is your response to that question, though? I'd like to hear from you. What is your response specifically for that question? If a teacher is not qualified to teach at university or a school, as you have rightly mentioned, what would you advise? What is the best strategy to ensure that good teachers are put in place to provide the best education?
Like I said before, teachers should be evaluated before letting them teach students, because yes, in some schools they evaluate teacher before letting them teach the students in class, but some just doesn't.
Would you want to elaborate further? How would you evaluate?
Nah, no.
Okay, all right. Do you have any second thought in addition to what she's saying? All right, thank you very much. I think if you could join me to give a big round of applause for the students. Of course, the second session, well, no, actually the third session of our debate this morning is to give an opportunity to our judges who are now sitting in front of us to be able to give a few questions to the students, to be able to demonstrate their understanding and defending their arguments of what they presented this evening based on the topics that have been provided. So, judges, thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you could, of course, state your name and also a specific question directed to which group will be great. The floor is yours, please, thank you.
Well, good evening. My name is Jacques Alves. Here I have some questions to both sides. As we know that our main topic to this debating is what is the main causes of education system that implicated the quality of teaching and learning that have been lower during independence. My first question is, what is your view or your perspective or thoughts about our education system? Is our education system is ideal, or our education system is in the right way, or we need to change our education system in order to elevate our quality of teaching and learning? Thank you.
So again, if I could reframe that question, so basically, based on the topic that has been provided, you are asked to of course give your view on what is the best strategy to ensure that we can improve the quality of education. If I could just confirm that is correct? Yeah. Yes, please. Who wants to go first in terms of responding to the judge's question? Okay, then I'll give it to you if you can start to answer the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Like we said, to have a good education, we need a good quality of education system as well. And I think our education system right now is good, but we can still improve it. We can still do better. So why not improve it instead of just not doing anything?
Yeah, like we said, we need to improve like the infrastructure, especially in rural areas, and the equipments as well, and also the facilities, such as libraries, because mostly in rural area, public school, they don't have any libraries, so they cannot read more books and stuff like that. Thank you.
So as they have, the students have articulated well in terms of infrastructure being the issue to improve. What are your thoughts? What are the other elements necessary other than the infrastructure as the issue of improving quality of education?
Okay. The good news is that Delhi has already have a library for the next 5 years, maybe. And second of all, if good education should have a good human resources, materials, and capacity of the teachers. That's all.
Of course, the question that you have, is there anything else as the strategy to improve education? Because the thing is, if you have good library, good building, but that itself doesn't guarantee to improve the quality of education. What are any other things that can be done to improve as based on the question that has been asked?
Maybe we can also work on some creativity.
To do what?
Creativity, like not just like you have to accompany like learning and teaching while doing creativity, so the students can also have open their mind so that they can be creative.
Any addition to that?
Yeah, for my question, we could collaborate or contribute to rural area schools, so they could have a good quality of education.
What is your thought on this? Thanks.
So like friend said, it is more important. It is important to, well, like teacher share the ideas or knowledge to the student is more important. So yeah, thank you.
I do agree. Because the thing is, as what they have rightly mentioned, infrastructure is as important. But of course, the methods of teaching, the knowledge of the teachers, as you rightly mentioned, is also a contributing factor to increase the quality of education. Thank you very much. Can you please give a big round of applause for Dr. Franco? Thank you. If I could invite, you have any further question, please do so. And of course, yeah.
Thank you. First of all, on behalf of TLDZ, I would like to give thanks to the director of San Miguel Arcanzu for inviting us here and providing the best opportunity for the high school students to express their ideas and then to share some opinions regarding to the issue that we are facing. So this is a wonderful and a golden opportunity for the high school student. So regarding to the topics that the both team have been shared their ideas here. I would like to ask one questions regarding to the topics. So here, would you be willing to share your ideas? Well, what is the best way the government should do in order to achieve putting the right people in the right place, especially in the teachers? Yeah, thank you.
Are you clear with the question? Okay, thank you. If you could start, please, thanks. Yes, I'm actually giving you the opportunity to start. If you're not ready, it's fine. I can ask the team to...
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Well, to put teacher in the right place, like their subject, is we need to kill the family system, because Timor-Leste is famous about family system. Thank you.
That's a good point. Do you have any addition?
Yeah, like I said, I think they should really evaluate teachers for the subject that they are going to teach. Like, yeah, that's a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I'd like to hand over to you, if I could start with you, in order to respond to the judge's question in terms of, well, of course you heard the question, so thanks.
Thank you. So, as we know, we have support from UNICEF that support the government of Timor-Leste to set up the sustainable the model of community. Like they support to teach like some stuff, like they can share that for poor young people that don't have it. So they share it.
Do you have an addition to that?
Because in Timor-Leste, we have low speed of internet. So if the government implements a good quality of internet, it's a great opportunity for students could have a great research or something for their schools or their careers, something like that.
Thank you for the response. Do you have any follow-up questions, Judge? Okay, so of course you have basically the questions, of course you understand very clearly. It is still related to of course the previous question in terms of infrastructure, the best strategy for teachings and all that to ensure we improve our quality of education. Given the fact that our judges don't have any further question, I'd like to, of course, invite the president of the judges to be able to give you a question related to the topic of the debate this evening. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, very good morning, good evening, and for all debaters on the both sides. I'm very excited because you still the under 19, 17 years, and you can speak English, maybe very excellent. Before, when I was secondary school, I didn't speak English and the like as you are. So today, I would like to give any questions based on your explanation that and your delivery. What is you observe the main cause that implicate the education system? I would like to ask you your perspective about what is the main cause. That and you explain, you say that teachers, it is the problem of teachers that you send the family. I think what is the main cause? Can you give me any best way the Minister of Education can hear in and from you guys can solve and how to solve these problems? Okay, what is the best way? The main point, the main important things, and therefore education system that cause education system in Timor-Leste. Okay, thank you.
So if I can just confirm that, Judge. So your question is basically, what are the main causes that implicates why our education is poor? And the second question is, what are the strategies to improve that? Okay. All right, so you get a question. I'm just clarifying to make sure it's clear with you. Are the questions clear to you all? Okay, then I'd like to give you the opportunity to, of course, I will just shorten that. Of course, there are some additional information highlighting of course, some of the things related to the history and all that, which, of course, he was just articulating. But the main question is, what are the main causes that have impacted this education system, why it is poor? So if you could elaborate on that and give your opinion related to this question. Thank you. The floor is yours.
The causes that Timor-Leste has been that we have less infrastructure, sanitation, low speed of internet. So if the government could fix all of that, this is going to be a good opportunity for good education in the future.
What are your thoughts on this? In addition to that? Thank you. So basically the responses are, of course, the internet, human resources, infrastructure, which are some of the most important elements to ensure improvement of education system. What are your thoughts on this? Please, thank you.
Well, I think in our opinions, the main cause is the quality of teaching, because mostly of teachers in Timor-Leste, they don't have or get their qualified certificate yet, but still can teach the students. And I think that's the massive problem in, or the cause of the problem, the main cause of education system.
And maybe to build more schools like universities, especially in rural areas. Yeah.
I think the responses are very, very to the target as far as my understanding in terms of that. So the other side, to left-hand side of me was answering the infrastructure, of course, needs to be improved in order to contribute towards enhancing the quality of education. And on my right-hand side, the quality itself, that teachers need to be put in the right position to be able to do that. And so it seems like it is, again, I'd like to thank you all. Can you please join me to give a big round of applause again for this. So again, of course, this is the first session of our debate is coming to an end. But please stay in tune as we still have an opportunity for the next debate. So thank you very much. If you can stay tuned, that will be great. But this is the first session of this debate is adjourned. I'd like to invite you, if you could just shake hands, and then we can finalize the first session of our debate, please. Thanks. So again, as I've just mentioned to you, wherever you are, the viewers in Timor-Leste, across the world, and in the studio of San Miguel Arcanjo, who is joining us for this debate this evening. The first part is now coming to an end, but please stay in tune as the next session of this debate will be very soon in the next few minutes. Thank you.
Pro contra ideias e assunto, ideologia, política, justiça, defesa, segurança, economia, social, educação no cultura, exclusivo, crítico no construtivo, TVE debate, sai inspiração para o futuro.